Hey you guys, Terry here. Welcome to Kids Corner, and I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about this beautiful park. You know, normally I do my Kids Corner tapes from inside my house with guinea pigs and skits, but it's so beautiful here today that I just thought it would be fun to go to the park and visit the park together. Now, some people go to the park, like maybe you, and you swing on the swings or you go down the slide. That's a lot of fun. Other people, they take their dog for a walk at the park and they visit with other pet owners. Some people like to play sports. Oh, it's been a long time since I've done that, but they like to go to the park and play football or baseball. But this is a different kind of park. And if you look around, you can see that, gosh, it's beautiful, but there's no swing sets. There's no slides. There's no place to walk your dog, or there's no place to play sports. And that's because this park is a different kind of a park. It's a park called, ready? A memorial park. And maybe some of you have never been to one. Let me explain what it is. Memorial is kind of an interesting word. It sounds like the word memory or remember. And that's exactly what people do in a memorial park. They come and they remember people who've lived and have already died. In fact, take a look at this. At this park, people who have lived and died are actually buried in the ground. And there are these stones, these markers that explain who's here. For example, a person named Mildred Meese is buried here. And next to her is a guy named Frank Benton. And down the line is a guy named Roland Johnson. Boy, and you keep going all the way down. And then you look at this park and it's just filled with thousands and thousands of people who've already lived and died. And they're buried in this park. Now, sometimes death and dying can be a little scary, but I want to tell you something I've learned that will make it less scary. I've been with about maybe 4 or 5 people in my life as they died, as they passed away, they took their last breath. And one thing I know for sure is that when they are alive, their personality is there. Oh, they may be sick, or they may be older, or they may be asleep, but they're still there. Their personality, you know that that person is there, alive. And then all of a sudden, the moment comes when they die, and that person, it's like they're gone. It's like they're unplugged. It's like they've gone to sleep. And they're no longer using that body. They're asleep somewhere. And we know that someday, if these people loved God and served God and believed in Jesus, we know that Jesus will be back someday and he'll wake all those people up and we'll all go to heaven together. But in the meantime, if I were to look at that gravestone and say, hey, Mildred, wake up. She's not going to wake up. I can't do that. She's gone. She's not there. Just her body is there. How about Frank Benton? Hey, Frank, wake up. Come up out of that grave. It doesn't do a thing because I don't have the power to make somebody who's dead come back to life. Only one person in history we know had that power to take somebody who was already dead and buried and in the grave for 4 days and bring that person back to life. It's a story about Jesus and how he brought Lazarus back to life. It's in John chapter 11, and it's the story of a man named Lazarus. He lived with his 2 sisters, Mary and Martha. They lived in a town called Bethany, and they were good friends with Jesus. In fact, Jesus had stayed at their house a number of times. But Lazarus got sick, and when it got serious, Mary and Martha sent word to Jesus, who was in another town, and said, please come, you could heal our brother. Jesus didn't race right there. He waited a couple of days. Interesting. But when he got there, Lazarus was already dead and buried for 4 days. And then Jesus said something very strange. He said, open up that grave, dig him up, get the dirt away. I want to see what's going on. They said, oh, Jesus, we can't do that. He's been dead for 4 days. It's not going to be pretty. And Jesus says, I told you that if you believed, we would see the glory of God here today. I mean, Jesus was so moved by the love that everybody had for Lazarus that he himself cried. Anyway, they opened up the grave, and Jesus reached out and looked in, and he said, Lazarus, wake up. And guess what? He did. He woke up. He came up out of that grave, and he went to his sisters and they unwrapped him from the clothes and he was alive. It was the most amazing miracle that anybody had seen to date. Now we know that Jesus is going to do an even greater miracle. He's about to raise himself from the grave. But up until this point, no one had ever done what Jesus had done, especially using the power of God and giving God glory to bring somebody back from the grave. Now, we don't understand that. I couldn't do that. You couldn't do that. But Jesus, with God's power, did it. It's a hard passage to understand. It's a hard Bible story to get. But I want you to remember this. The main thing is that Jesus did an amazing, amazing miracle that no one has ever done since. And that's the Jesus that we get to love and believe in and someday wake up with. Have a great week. Talk to you soon.